Okay, we got a signed bill. This is exciting. So in this video, I'm going to cover top 10 items that we know of as of now, and this could all change related to the PPP 2.0. Now, since the bill was just signed, the SBA is still kind of working on their application and their details of what they are going to be requiring from companies to submit. So again, they have 10 days to kind of finalize all this. So nothing's live yet, but there might be some items that I cover that you may want to start getting ready. So once those applications do go live, you have the information available. So number one, if your company has 300 employees or less, you're eligible for this new 2.0 PPP. If you have more than 300 employees, you're not eligible. Secondly, the limit size of the loan, it's $2 million. So in PPP 1.0, it was $10 million, the max you can get. Now it's down to $2 million. Number three, this is an important one. You have to prove that your business suffered a reduction of revenue of 25% and you compare any quarter in 2020 to a quarter in 2019. So just say you take Q2, right? So Q2, right? April, May, June of 2020, and what's your total revenue? And you have to prove that it was reduced by 25% if you compare it to that same period in 2019. Now, if your business was fairly new, like brand new in 2020, or you didn't have a full year in 2019, I think they're gonna provide more guidance on that, but this is an important one. So what I would start doing is getting your financial statements in order. And I know if you're using like QuickBooks, you can kind of categorize your financials, your P&L by quarter, because this is what the lenders are going to be looking for, is proof that your business kind of showed that reduction in revenue. Next, number four, the loan size. So it's still going to be 2.5 times payroll for the year. And the last point on this whole list, number 10, is the kind of calculation, but it's still that 2.5 month times payroll. And that's going to be your loan size limit. Now, number five, this is a plus. If you're in the food industry, accommodation, restaurant industry, that loan size now, the max you can get is now 3.5 times payroll. So it's, for all other companies, it's 2.5 months, right? Your payroll, that's your loan size. But if you're in the restaurant, food, or accommodation industry, it's 3.5 months times your payroll. So that's fantastic. Number six, and these percentages may change, but in the PPP loan 1.0, if you remember, 60% of your loan, if you want it forgiven, had to be used on payroll. And then 40% could be used on rent, utilities, or mortgage interest. Now they changed that other 40% where you can now use it for operations to run the business, right? Any expenses there, inventory, product delivery, supplier costs, all that's kind of grouped into that other bucket. So now you have more expenses to use this loan on, and it'll be part of your forgiveness. What we don't know yet is this 60%, 40%. That may change, but what I would start doing is kind of calculating what your payroll is going to be and what your loan amount is going to be, and then the expenses that you plan on using this loan amount for. Number seven, the necessity requirement, that's still there, meaning you got to certify that you're using these loans or you're requesting this loan because of the uncertainty of the future of your business, your industry. So you still got to certify that. Number eight, I covered this in a past video, the loan deductions. So originally they said that you could not deduct. So you got a loan, right, $100,000, and you spent it, and they said that you could not, if you got the loan forgiven, you could not deduct those expenses. Now you can deduct those expenses. We're getting questions about, okay, so how do you code that forgiveness amount on the income statement? I would just code it as other income, below the line. And then when you do your tax return, in the tax return itself, there's a section for non-includable income or revenue, and that's where you put your loan forgiveness amount, but you're still got those expenses that is deducting from your other sales and your revenue in the business. So that's great news. Number nine, before in PPP loan 1.0, they first said, okay, you got 8 weeks to kind of use this money, and then you apply for forgiveness. Then they extend it to 24 weeks. In the 2.0, you get to choose your period. So it could be 8 weeks, it could be 9 weeks, it could be 10 weeks. And once you hit that limit, then you can apply for forgiveness. But the minimum number of period is 8 weeks, and the max is 24 weeks. So now you get to choose your period, but it's in that range. In number 10, how you calculate the loan amount. So there's two scenarios as of now. You take the average salary, your payroll, right, for all of calendar 2019. So you go back to 2019 and add up what your total payroll is, and you figure out what the average is per month, okay? And then you multiply that by 2.5, right? So you get 2.5 months. That's option one. Option two is, just say you applied for this loan on December 28th, right? You go back a year from the date you applied. So in this case, it would be December 27th. And you go back all the way back to December 28th of 2019. So now you got 12 months. You figure out what your average payroll is during that 12-month period, and then multiply it by 2.5 months. So that's the top 10. This is kind of what we know. Exciting news for a lot of companies that are suffering right now, especially those in the food, accommodation, restaurant industry. And just be on the lookout for more loan information. And our next video is gonna talk about some other things relating to the forgiveness. So I talked about in my last video about the application. We even talked to some lenders, and they weren't aware of this simplified one-page version, where if your loan was $150,000 or less, and this is the PPP loan 1.0, the application is one page. You just self-certify, you don't provide any detail, and you give that to the SBA. Now you got to keep your records and everything, but there's things like that. And then the payroll tax credit. So we've mentioned this in our last video. Some people have kind of gotten back to us saying that they spoke to their payroll company, and their payroll company said, no, you got the PPP loan, you can't get this employee credit. But now you can, and you should definitely push back on your payroll company. So thanks for watching. Make sure to pass this video along to anyone that you think that might find this information useful, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.